Welcome back to Sports Talk with Jordan. We're going to be doing part 4 of the NFL hot takes with Jacob again. So we're going to be doing the AFC South.
But before we start this video, if you haven't watched last video, go check it out. We talked about the Denver Broncos and the receiver that escaped me and Jordan at the time. We now know is Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler, and they also have good tight end Noah Fant. Without further ado, let's continue with the video, Jordan.
Alright, thanks, Jacob. We're now going to be rating each of these teams' future performance, starting with the first place in the division team, the Tennessee Titans. What do you think about them, Jacob?
I've always been a Ryan Tannehill supporter ever since he went to Tennessee. I knew he was going to be good. I think he's a top 10 quarterback, but I do think where they are going to be hurt is on the defensive end. They lost a ton of key pieces, including their good cornerback core in Adoree Jackson, who went to the Giants, and Malcolm Butler, who went to the team that escapes me at this current moment. But Derrick Henry, easily a top 3 running back in football. AJ Brown, they have a good receiving core. They did lose Corey Davis to my Jets, but they do have AJ Brown, but they also lost Johnny Smith. So, while they do have Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, and AJ Brown as a great core for now and the future, I can't see them. I see them going a little down. This coming year, I could see anywhere between 8-9 and 11-6.
I completely agree. I think the Titans, so they started off the season really strong. I think they were 5-0 to start the season, undefeated until they were defeated, of course. I think in week 6. I completely agree with what you said. I do enjoy watching the Titans play. It's always an adventure. Their season was destroyed, though, in the playoffs when they lost. So it's going to be interesting to see how they perform this year. I think they're either going to be really good or really bad.
Yep, I agree. But I can't see them being bad with such a good running back and such a good quarterback with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill.
Completely agree. Now for the second place team in the division, the Indianapolis Colts. Jacob?
Here's one of my hottest takes. Colts are going to be great. Carson Wentz is going to have a great season.
I would love that.
Hear me out before you diss it. The Colts are going to be great. They have a great O-line.
Their O-line is elite.
With Jonathan Taylor. They have a decent receiving core. It's all right. They have decent tight ends. But why they were so good last year was, of course, due to that phenomenal defense. But here's the thing. Carson Wentz, many people think he's going to be bad. He's going to be great. He's going to have a near MVP caliber season like he did in 2017. I see 41,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, but I see the Colts stealing the division. They could range anywhere from 10-7 to 13-4.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do see Carson Wentz with some potential. When he was on the Eagles, he really had no one to throw to, as the Eagles' wide receiver core was not the greatest in 2020.
Neither is the Colts, but I feel like the Colts have a much better overall team, and I feel it's a better system for Carson Wentz.
I completely agree. And now on to the third place team, the Texans, who are holding Deshaun Watson captive.
Texans are going to be bad. I think they got a free Watson from the Texas prison. I think David Culley was the worst signing for a coach. They did sign Philip Lindsay. They lost Will Fuller. Brandon Cooks is all right, but they have a mediocre defense. Besides Deshaun Watson, this franchise is looking like it's going down the drain. And if they dump Watson, I can't see that being good for at least 5 years.
Completely agree. After they lost J.J. Watt and so many more core pieces to their once great team, I can't see them doing well this year. I can even see them doing worse than the Jags if they keep up losing these valuable players. And speaking of the Jags, why don't we get on to the Jags, the last place team?
Here's the thing with the Jags. T-Law is a given. He's going to be a solid NFL quarterback. They signed Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones is a great receiver. They have a solid defense with Miles Jack, defensive end Josh Allen, and they have some decent, just an overall solid defense. And they have DJ Chark on the receiving core. I can't see them being very good. I think this is going to be a T-Law development year, but in 2 years, I could see it being a pretty solid team. This year, however, I have them going anywhere between 4-13 and 7-10.
I completely agree. You know, when these teams come in last and get the QBs, people always expect such high expectations. But then they realize, wait, now the team has a QB, but they don't have anything else. No O-line, no defense, no receiving core, no running, nothing. So it's going to be interesting to see the Jags trying to rebuild this year.
And saying James Robinson, who's the Jags running back, he's going to be a great NFL player, and I think he'll be, if the Jaguars are successful in the future, he will be a huge part of that.
Yeah, and also, as I was saying before, you see it with a ton of teams, like Sam Darnold was supposed to be a top prospect, but because the Jets had little to none receiving core, he couldn't perform in the way that the Jets hoped. And yeah. So that's, I guess, that's going to do it for today's video. And that wraps up the AFC, so stay tuned for part 5 and the first part of the NFC, where we talk about more teams and hot takes. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk with